Hello, Campbell Chapel. For just a few minutes, we're going to explore the topic funding the vision. Here are the 4 minute conversations that we're going to have: the secret sauce, the community foundation, grant sources, and new skill sets. Many of the very successful ministries have discovered these 4 secrets. Number 1, people love to serve. When these successful ministries are experiencing problems recruiting or retaining volunteers, they don't look at the volunteers for the answer. They look into the mirror and examine themselves. They discover that when we have a problem retaining or recruiting volunteers, there's usually either a leadership issue or a structural issue that is interfering, perhaps both. And so the answer to our issue is not to change something in the volunteer, but to change something in leadership or in the structure the ministry has. Perhaps the leadership is not aware of the issues that the particular volunteer may have. Maybe the volunteer has offered suggestions or experiences that have been ignored by the leader or the leadership. Or perhaps the structure is just faulty. Meetings may be chaotic or gossipy, too long or too frequent. But there's always an external reason to explain why we have problems recruiting and retaining volunteers. Because at everyone's heart, we love to serve. People love to serve. People love to give. Now, you may laugh at that when you look at the offering plate, but let me tell you a little secret. I've conducted a financial stewardship class almost every year of my adult life. And in that process, I will ask the question, if you were to win the lottery and tomorrow you were $1 million richer, what will you do with that money? And almost to a person, within the top 3 answers will come the word give. People love to give. This is very important when we start looking at funding our ministries, because we need to realize that there's someone out there that, if we are in the proper place, would love to give to our ministries. Connected to number 2 is the notion that people love accountability. People want well-run ministries to support. They want to know that bookkeeping is done, records are maintained, and that all of the I's have been dotted and the T's have been crossed. People are much more likely to give to a ministry that has accountability than to a chaotic ministry that has a great need. And finally, people love winners. They love success stories. They love people who walk with swag. They don't like whiners, people with the can't help it's and the can'ts. And so how we speak about our ministry often influences how hard or easy it will be to fund that ministry. Walk like a winner. Second mini conversation, the community foundation. Every community in the United States of America is served by a community foundation. We are very fortunate that we are served by 2, the Coastal Community Foundation and the Community Foundation of the Lowcountry. The Coastal Community Foundation manages the Clemente Pinckney Fund, and the Community Foundation of the Lowcountry manages Campbell's Historic Chapel Restoration Fund. These 2 organizations have both issued grants to Campbell Chapel. So what is a community foundation? A community foundation is an organization that brings 2 groups of people together. First, it brings in people we'll call donors. Donors are people who have a certain amount of money that they would like to see go toward a certain cause or a certain service. The second group we'll call recipients. Recipients are people that are working for that cause or for that service and need funding. We'll call the gifts that they give grants. So let's look at the donor side first. What does the Community Foundation do for the donors? Well, it first provides them with a tax shelter. All community foundations are 501c3s. The gifts that they manage are tax deductible. Second, the community foundation amplifies the gifts that are given by the donors. It amplifies them by soliciting additional gifts outside of the awareness of the donor. And second, by investing the donor's gift, managing that fund, usually in the stock market. And then it simplifies this whole giving process for the donors. The Community Foundation provides tax records, manages the funds, and issues out the grants, screens the recipients for the grants, and provides accountability from those recipients back to the donor. It makes the process simple for the donor. So now let's look at the recipients. The process is also made easier for the recipients. Often, the Community Foundation will provide potential recipients with a list of donors who are willing to give toward that particular cause or service. Just like for the donors, the Community Foundation provides records and simplifies the process. For all involved, the Community Foundation provides training and assistance so that it is easier for donors to give and for recipients to receive grants. And that makes the community grow. Grant sources. Well, we just mentioned the Community Foundation, but there are many places to write grants. There are grant databases, and one of the best is found right at the Bluffton Public Library. We can go through those databases and put in what the needs may be for a particular ministry. And in just a few keystrokes, you may have 5 or 10 different funds, donor funds, that you may solicit for a grant. For those of us who reside in Bluffton, most of our local residential communities offer grants. They offer them for a variety of services and needs, and you have to do your research. Many have certain windows on what time of the year you may apply, but there are many grants right outside our doors. Most of our civic organizations, fraternities, sororities, community clubs, many of the clubs right at Sun City offer grants. Religious organizations, including the African Methodist Episcopal Church, offers grants. Local businesses at Walmart and Lowe's have both issued grants to Campbell Chapel, AME Church. There are grants all around us. How can that be? Didn't I tell you people love to give? Finally, let's look at these 4 new skill sets that we need to move forward. And first, we need team building. The team building skill set is very difficult. It's something you have to manage. It's like driving a car. You can't always turn the steering wheel to the left or to the right. You just have to keep it in the middle of the road. We have to have good listening skills to listen to the members of our ministry, to hear not just what they're saying with their mouths, but what they're saying with their actions and with their heart, to remove those things that keep them from serving at their highest level. To do this, we need a better model than the models we see today. We're not a team. We're not a business. We're a ministry. The Bible compares a ministry to a body. In a body, there's very little duplication. Eyes don't do what ears do. Eyes don't do what feet do. But all rely on each other to do their job, and they work collaboratively. We must learn how to bring the members of our ministry together in such a way that they complement each other, cooperate with each other. We have to do it in such a way that each member feels respected, cherished, and loved. That's not an easy process. It's a new skill set that we must learn. Number 2 is detailed record keeping. As we enter this world of public funding, it is vital that we keep detailed records. Every grant that you receive will require some kind of an accountability feedback. It could be at the closure of the grant with receipts, videos, photographs, newspaper articles. It may only be a verbal interview, but there will be a moment of accountability. And the only way you can get through that moment properly is to have detailed records. The third skill set is public relation building. I know the Bible tells us that we should give in secret and God will reward us openly, and that is absolutely correct. But when we receive someone else's gift that was given to us in secret, we ought to make that known publicly in the sense of we ought to show them through social media, through printed media, through whatever media we may have, that we have properly handled the gift that they've given us. It's important that we build our public relation to the point that others can see God good works in us and glorify God. And the final one, and this is one that hurts me, maybe it's my growing edge, patience and persistence. This particular skill set was taken from a young man named Farrar Gray. At the age of 14, he became a millionaire. And he became a millionaire through the process of patience and persistence at 14. If you want to read about it, it's in his autobiography entitled Real-Yonaire. Real, R-E-A-L, Real-Yonaire. In that book, he discusses the process of success as receiving 99 no's for every yes that you will receive. So he's saying be willing to write 99 grants to get the one good grant. Be willing to knock on 99 doors to get the one good volunteer or member. Be willing to make 99 phone calls to get that right phone call to the right person in the right position. Be patient and persistent. We're going to discuss all of these in our training session on January 2nd. Please bring your notes and questions, and we're going to go into even more at that time. We love you. God bless you, Campbell Chapel.